to another edition of the Rockin' Rewind podcast. Here's your host, James Poovey and Ray Miranda.
Welcome to another edition of the Rockin' Rewind podcast. My name is James Poovey alongside my co-host Ray Miranda. Ray, are you ready to talk a little bit more rock and roll, my man?
Yes, I am, and I'm really excited. We're talking to an international rock star, which I never thought I'd talk to this guy, but let's get right into it, man.
Hey, let's not cut. Let's get him right in here. Mr. Johnny Gioeli, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm great, man. The Poovey
Good.
Miranda team. Woo!
That's it. We're going to talk some rock and roll here today. And we're blessed to have you on here on the anniversary of the release of the Hardline debut album, Double Eclipse.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that album, Johnny, obviously, as we go along here, but maybe we rewind a little bit. What our basis of our show is to educate today's listener or today's youth on some really good music that they might have missed out on, or maybe it was before their time. And when we first started talking about doing this podcast, your band was one of the first ones that we brought up. So we're very pleased to have you on here with us. Talk to us a little bit about what you got you interested in music in the first place. Rewind way back to that point.
Man. Okay. I'll take you guys back, give you a little bit of history lesson here for Johnny Gioeli rock and roll. So I actually started performing as a professional musician. So professional means you're getting paid. Okay. So that's you're deemed professional, right? I was 11 years old when I started my career, and I was laser focused on what I wanted to do. Kind of hurt me in some respects in school because I wasn't all quite there and focused because I was just music. I knew when my friends were outside playing with their Tonka toys, I knew I wanted a career in music, and I wasn't going to stop until I got it. So at 11, I was in this band with my brother called Phase. And we would oh my God. So of course, we were raised with, bands like Kiss and Van Halen. Of course, who would have ever dreamed that my first live show of my international career on MCA with Double Eclipse would be with no less than Van Halen. My very first show was Palace of Auburn Hills in Michigan. I think it was 50,000 seats. And I would be juicing carrot juice with Alex Van Halen and running through the halls of the hotel room with the Van Halen brothers. I mean, it's been wild, man. So my humble upbringing consisted of watching my older brother Joey, because when you have an older brother, you always want to play the same sport he's doing or do what he's doing because he's cool. And my brother was and is cool. Sure. But he had this band. He had this high school band. And it was pretty wild, man. So I lived in Pennsylvania at the time before, moving out to Los Angeles and living my music rock star life out there. Right. And so I would in Pennsylvania, we had this house. We played in a basement. California, we didn't have basements because the earthquakes, you wouldn't want to be in a basement.
Right.
So I would go down there and I would watch this drummer. I'd sit on the steps and his drums were down here. And I would watch and learn and enjoy this music that they were like pretty much a cover band playing all these Scorpions tunes and things like that. And they would leave. Okay, rehearsal was over, and I would go and I figured out how to play drums, man. I was like,
all right,
and,
all right.
Just became self-taught. And one day that poor drummer got sick and couldn't do a gig. So I told my brother, I can do it. He was like, what are you talking about? Guys, I was 11 years old. I was 11 years old, and I'm so grateful to God for my gifts. But this guy, I basically took his job. So I proved to my brother that I could play all these songs and I could sing. And that was really the start of recognizing and living the beginning of living that dream. From there, I mean, when you watch a Kiss concert, or you went to a Kiss concert and the theatrics and the crowd reaction, and I got so many stories for you guys, but that that feeling, that sound. We used to huddle up before a show. Like, say we were supporting, like I did a show last summer, 2 summers ago. So, I played with the biggest bands, in the world. And, we did a show with Kiss and played with Scorpion so many times and of course Van Halen. But I remember, and something you never forget, when those lights go down and you hear that crowd. Let me tell you something. I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs. That's a drug. That's got to be what it feels like, because it's the most incredible thing that can ever happen to you. And I am every day grateful. And I remember telling my girlfriend, now wife, that I never want to forget that feeling ever. And I want to be grateful for it every day. And I'm going to tell you something. In these COVID times, I miss that stage. I miss seeing those people. I miss hearing that.
We miss that stage.
Oh, we miss it too, brother.
It's insane. It's completely insane. And but it's been good. It's been good to realize once again, how grateful musicians should be who have that opportunity to perform, And so for me, it's been humbling. And I swear to God, I'm going to kiss the next stage that I'm on. I'm going to lick
it.
Good,
man. We were talking to a guy a couple weeks ago, said the same thing. Like, he's just like, I need to get on the road, man. And I saw, you're not the only one, man. You're not the only one.
And not just to get out of the house, right? But you truly miss the stage. I mean, it's got to be exhilarating to go out in front of thousands of people and not only that, Johnny, but go out and put on display something that you have created yourself. Talk a little bit about the specialness of that and how it feels to go out and really put your works on display for people every night or soon to be every night. Let's hope, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It is an unbelievable feeling to be able to, imagine, as a songwriter, imagine starting with like this blank piece of paper, right? And then, you have an idea or you're inspired by something, maybe something you see, something you heard, something that's affected you emotionally, and you turn that into a piece of musical art. And when that creation comes together and people accept it and love it, that is the most incredible feeling ever. But it all starts as a songwriter. It all starts for pleasing your inner you. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Guys, I really appreciate that you love all the songs and the whole history, but I write the songs for me first because that's where it's got to come from first. If I sat and said, let me see if I can write something that James and Ray really like, that's all bullshit. It has to come from within. So to be able to create that song and then get a response, or most importantly, have it affect someone's life, oh my God, man. I mean, that is the most amazing gift ever. And that's why I do this. Back in the days of the multi-million-dollar record deals, look, I was in my young 20s, 22, I had $8.5 million record deal. It was just insane.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Okay, yeah. It was insane. But when all that stuff went away, I didn't worry about the money. I didn't worry about, look, am I ever going to be in a magazine again? What I worried about was I going to get a reaction from people again? Am I going to be on a stage where I can hear and see the people and the joy in their faces? Anyway, oh man, I could talk to you guys all night about that.
Johnny, do you think, first of all, I appreciate the appreciation that you have for your gifts and the blessings from above that have allowed you to continue to create music and perform for people. Do you think that appreciation that you have has a lot to do with you guys' longevity, especially yours in the music business, whereas, a lot different now than it was back in the day, as we say, when you guys started out back in 92. And it makes me feel old to say 92 was back in the day, but it was.
Well, James, that's a great question, bro. And I've humbly never really thought about it. So the longevity, maybe so, bro. I think the longevity comes from being grateful for being able to do this. Number one, I think that translates and people support people who are humble about being grateful. And I usually say this, and I will say it, but when I do a lot of interviews, and I've done tens of thousands of them, I always say at the end of every interview, and I'll probably do it here, that without the fans, without the people, it may sound cliche, but without them, really, what the hell am I? I'm just like a voice. And there's plenty of great voices out there, man. There's talent in this world like you can't even imagine. So if you don't appreciate the the support that you get that allows me to continue, then what do you really have? So I think that people really understand that is my heart, and the support continues. And here I am. I just finished up, guys, album number. You ready for this?
Oh boy.
93. I'm on, if you check out my Wikipedia with all the projects and all the albums that I've participated on, I just finished 93. I'm getting ready for 94 and 95.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy, man. So people wonder, hey, Johnny, why do you need a teleprompter? Why do you need a teleprompter on stage? Oh, we lost Ray. Come back, Ray.
Yeah, Ray. So hopefully Ray will come back with us here in a minute.
Come back, Ray. Yeah, so people say, Johnny, why do you need a teleprompter? I'm like, bros, I got 93 albums in my head. I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
That is an amazing catalog. You talk about 92, 93 albums, a ton of songs to remember. When you're in the writing process, Johnny, and I know it's different for everyone, how do you write songs? Do you sit down and you come up with a melody first? Are you a lyrics first guy, or does it kind of happen sporadically and kind of happen maybe differently for each song? How does that work for you particularly?
Yeah,
and we'll go back and take a look at some video clips from back in the day here too as we chat.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, Ray's back. Hey, Ray.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
That's all right. That's all right. Technology, my man.
Yeah.
Job security for me, right?
So, so James, I think, my formula has always been, everyone writes differently, right? But my formula has always been, I'm inspired by a piece of music. So if you send me a piece of music, I usually, hopefully, God allowing, I hear something. And that's how we've written every single Hardline album, for example. It all comes from a piece of music that inspires me and makes me feel a certain way. And again, that's what music's supposed to do,
Sure.
Like if you're going to go do this massive freaking workout, you're not going to listen to soundscapes or opera. You're going to listen,
no Enya, right?
Right. So my formula has always been, for this last Hardline record, or I should say our new one that's coming out, what the hell's going on? Oh,
now this is a little clip from back in the day. This is a sound check from 92. I didn't know if you had ever seen this or not, my man.
That is awesome. Wait a minute. Why do I know that thing?
That's Salem, Oregon, I want to say, unless it's Salem, Massachusetts. I'm assuming it's Salem, Oregon.
No, that's check. Oregon. So that's Lou Castronovo's, where I don't know if he's still living there. But, yeah. Oh, that's
there you are, man. What are your thoughts right now? Oh, a little.
What I'm thinking
a little too much high end, maybe there.
Too loud.
That's why they do a sound check, right?
Yeah, that's a sound check, and the purple gold gems got to go because you're definitely not buff, dude. You're a skinny little 20-year-old rock dude. So why were you wearing that shirt? That's embarrassing. But yeah, man, those.
Have you ever seen this clip?
I don't think so, bro. It's awesome.
Going back in the vault a little bit there, yeah.
Oh my God.
So this must have been obviously on the tour supporting the album Double Eclipse, I would imagine.
Yeah, that was Double Eclipse, and I think we were on tour with Mr. Big, I think.
Yes.
I think out with Mr. Big or Extreme. No, Mr. Big. Extreme was Europe. Yeah, Mr. Big. There's my brother. Oh, look at those tight little shorts.
And I bet Dean's gonna like to see this too when it cascades down eventually as well. So,
those were called the Show the Bold pants.
Yeah,
not good. I didn't wear those, man. That's horrible.
Oh man. Funny. So a little blast from the past right there, huh?
That's incredible. That's incredible. My mother cried when we cut our hair off. That's how into it my family was, man. She cried. We're like, oh God, enough of this stuff on my neck. I'm done.
Yeah.
She cried. But so everyone writes differently, James, and for me, it's all inspired by a music piece that I hear, and then I go wild off of it. That's it.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah,
well, you talk about, obviously you guys have had a lot of lineup changes over the years. Talk a little bit about the current membership of the band and what you guys are doing. Obviously, you said you've just wrapped up the next studio album from Hardline. Talk a little bit about that process and the current members that you have right now.
So we've had the same lineup for quite a few years now, though. We have Alessandro Del Vecchio. It's an Italian group, man. You will never go hungry. If you tour with Hardline, you're gonna eat, bro. You're gonna eat. So,
I like it.
Alessandro Del Vecchio has been responsible for the producing and playing keyboards and background vocals with Hardline. We have Anna Portalupe on bass, and she is a maniac. People go insane watching her play. This tiny little Italian girl with this huge bass.
Just lays it down.
Lays it down, bro.
Yes.
Marco De Salvia, who is an absolute drumming beast. He's a beast. We've been in situations, bro, where we've gone gig to gig without any sleep. We go gig, we jump on an airplane, we go to the next show. Touring, it's not all glamorous.
It's not all glitz and glamour.
This guy doesn't stop. He's a maniac. And then Mario, of course, is just Mario Porcodani. He is a gem. And in this new record that's coming out this summer in July called Heart, Mind, and Soul, wait till you hear this boy play guitar. These are some of my I'm in love with this album. I'm in love with the message. I'm in love with the power. It's old school. It's going to take you back to that. There's a lot of 80s feeling in there. And I even wrote a song called 80s Moment. That's on the album because it took me back there. But yeah, man, I'm so excited. So yeah, that lineup is my Italian family. We love each other, man. It's like so much. Doesn't matter how exhausted we are, where we're flying, what gig we're doing. We get back to the hotel. Everybody, we spread out to our room, and you would think that we leave me alone. No, we're texting.
Like I'm in for the night. Yeah, you guys are already talking about the night. Hey, great show, man. Whatever.
Breakfast 9 o'clock. No, how about 8:30? Okay, no, I'm gonna get down there at 7. No way. And we're like, okay, good night. I love you. Good night. I love you. All right, good night. I love you. Great job tonight. Good. It's a family, bro, which is
it's got to be that way.
It's got to be that way.
It's got to be that way. You've got the music, you've got the lyrics, you've got the hooks, you've got the songs, and now you got to have that family cohesive unit to be able to take you through, like you said, the down times and the lack of sleep and all the things that happen to musicians that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, no, yeah. So funny story. So on occasion I'll take family members. So I'll take my wife with me, of course, and my son and my daughter. I took my daughter out on tour for a few weeks with her boyfriend. She got to see us play in Sweden Rock and, big shows like that. Yeah, I had a great time and flying all over the place, and she did really well. Then I took my wife and son out and I said, listen, this tour, it's a difficult schedule. There's some no sleep nights, and that's just the way it is. Oh, don't worry, Dad.
Yeah,
because when I come off,
we got it.
When I come off
Red Bulls, we're good.
Yeah. When I get home after a tour, I say, please, to my family, give me one day. Unless your body is on fire, please don't. Just give me one day to rest. And so after that tour, bro, when my son was out there, he was like, Dad, holy shit. I said, he slept through some shows because of the schedule. He literally, what do you mean, Dad? You played already? I said, son, we're off to the next gig. Let's go. Rock and roll. So
that's it. Yeah,
fun
stuff.
The
life of a rock star, it really never changes, Johnny. I want to talk to you a little bit about, the album was released 29 years ago today. 1992 was the time frame. The beginning of grunge and Pearl Jam and all that sort of stuff. How did you guys fit into that scene? Obviously, your music was from the hair metal era, if you don't mind me using that term, with a lot of really good guitar riffs and really good hooks. How did you feel that first album was going to fit into this new music scene that was just evolving at that time and starting to take off, and things were getting left behind from, if you ask me, the real music scene back in the 80s?
Yeah, well, bro, we didn't know. That's the short answer. So we had some very high level, record company executives, people that, that signed like Guns N' Roses and stuff, come and tell us that, this is a great album, man. It's a shame the timing's off. And we're like, what are you talking about? And then they're saying, MTV's not going to be playing music anymore. They're going to have like these little shows and stuff. And we're like, what are you talking about? We were in complete denial. And I'll never forget, man, we were actually, I was recording vocals at the time. And there we go.
Here's one of the ones that got it started. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we'll just run that here for the people as well. Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
This was the first one that got it started. This is the first single off Double Eclipse, correct?
It's the first thing. The song did really, really well to kick the album off. But everybody's telling us that, hey, there's this band called Pearl Jam, and they played it, and I'm like, this stuff's never going to do anything. What the hell? Listen to that. Right. But, it was a movement, and a period in time, and hey, man, I'm glad all those fans did well. Put it about, use their creativity, but that's this kind of music.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, let's face it, you guys are still around, and they're not, for the most part. I mean, a lot of lineup changes in some of those bands. A couple of those bands are still around, are still doing things. A lot of them, unfortunately, succumb to the vices of the day, drugs and alcohol, and I could go on and on and on. But as you mentioned, you guys tried to maybe steer away from that sort of scene.
Oh, totally. I'm going to tell you straight out, I've never tried a drug in my life. Never have, man. Not even a hit of marijuana, nothing. I had no need. I am so immersed in life, and trying to be the best person I can be and share it with the world. I don't need any kind of drug. I'm not interested. So, this is a VH1 video. I just caught that.
Yeah, this is when there was actually music videos played back. A lot of kids nowadays, they'll never understand the power of MTV and the impact it had on music back in the day, and chart toppers and all that sort of stuff. And then they suddenly started going off the rails. How do you promote music now, Johnny? I mean, things are really different in the music industry. You talk about, I feel bad for any bands, trying to come up nowadays and get themselves signed, and it's a completely different world.
Yeah, it's a different game. That's for sure. So we have this new social interaction through through our phones, and record companies nowadays, to be they're very useful for a number of things, but it doesn't mean that you need one to become famous. That's been obvious, all over TikTok and Snapchat and this chat and that chat. I mean, I often think about the past, like what would I have done if I had those social platforms to advertise my music?
Oh.
Now, the platforms are great, but now the competition, I got to tell you, man, there's a lot of talent out there, and you're just immersed in all this content. I don't know. I actually feel bad for the kids today, because the simplicity in music is gone. Look, man, I don't know if you sing, James, but I could probably make you sound like a killer singer with all this computer crap. And
you're exactly right. I mean, everything's digital now, and everybody can sit in their basement or in their garage and make their own album and release it. You don't need backing from a record company, and a lot of artists, maybe similar to yourself, would say, hey, we didn't really have any backing from some of the record companies, and we were out there, because you're out there pounding the pavements and playing the shows. That's where you get noticed.
Yeah,
that's where you pick up the fans. That's where you drive them from the show one night, going and waiting at the record store the next morning for them to open up at 10 a.m.
That's exactly right, man. All those in stores, we did all that stuff. I remember the record company used to tell us, get out of here, go out and play, because when you play, we sell records. When MTV played a video, every time MTV played a video, we sold 25,000, 30,000 records. That doesn't happen anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Good friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, is Nina Blackwood from MTV.
Yeah, ex-VJ, or I say ex-VJ, old-time VJ.
I don't know about you guys, but I remember sitting in front of the TV. I always waited for Nina Blackwood to come on.
Yes.
I couldn't wait to watch those videos. So, what are you watching now? What do we got here?
Now we got a little Hot Cherie here from a live show you guys did a couple of years ago. I believe this is from Switzerland.
Could be.
You know, back in the day, Johnny, I remember when MTV first started, and you know, those that were lucky enough to have cable, and then I grew up. I remember the first rock record I ever heard was Priest. I walked in my brother's room. He had it going on a 33 and a third, and it was "Heading Out to the Highway" was the song from Point of Entry, and I'll never forget it. And that was my first introduction to rock and roll. And I was like, man, what is this? And then a couple years later, I'm listening to Van Halen, and then I see Alex Van Halen on the drums. I'm like, oh, I gotta do that. And I'm banging on my mom's door the next day. Hey, I gotta have drum lessons. You gotta get me signed up for this. And I understand the passion, and I appreciate the fact that you had the same passion, even still, after the success that you've had. You still get it. You still understand the excitement that's involved with live music and performing. And look at you right there, just still bringing it, man, on stage all these years later. What can I say?
Yeah, man. I mean, I love it, and with me, and a lot of guys I know in the business, every person in that audience, they came to see a show, man. They don't care if you got a stomach ache, if you shit your pants, or what have you got a cold. You get out there because those people deserve to see a show, and they paid money to see a show. Do a show, man. That's just friggin' ticket.
That's it. Do you ever have to remind yourself that, hey, there's probably someone or maybe more than one person in this audience tonight that's going to see me and my band and my drummer and everybody for the first time?
You know what? I never really think about that. I think about the audience as a whole. And so it's always my goal to take, because it's really hard. Obviously, I can't see all the people, but when you see the, kind of the haze of them, you look try to please the entire core of that place. You know what I mean?
Fantastic.
So, sometimes I make a joke and I'll say, is anyone here for the first time to see us? And you'll see it. You'll see someone, yeah! And then I'll have security remove them. It's like, why are you all here? Why is this your first time? Get out!
What do you guys envision going on? I'm running some tour dates here on the scroll on the bottom of the screen, starting looks like August 20th over in the UK. How do you think shows are going to obviously be a lot different now than the last time you guys played out? I imagine the last time you actually played was probably 2019 sometime.
Yeah, bro, it's brutal. So at those dates, scroll across, I'm just going, please. So far,
hold, right?
On restrictions, we should be okay. And I have in August, I have some solo shows in Russia. We're in Norway, and so far they're confirmed. But
what does that even mean anymore, right?
Yeah,
I mean, things get pulled the day of right now, even still. So it's just everything's so touch and go. But all we can do is just hope for the best and keep working forward towards getting to those dates, right?
James, it's true, man. So when a musician lives their life, we buy the calendars that are 2 years in advance. So I'm already into. It's not easy getting a 2023 calendar, bro. And I've had to push 60 plus shows into the following years, and I've pushed them. I can't tell you 2-3 times already. You know how hard it is to coordinate all that. This whole thing is a mess, but I'm hopeful and I'm going to remain positive that everything stays, we stay, gaining on this COVID thing, and we can get back on the stage. But at least, at least we have new music coming out. People can enjoy the music, and we got to start somewhere.
Right. And speaking of new music, there's got to be a flood of new music coming. You talk about all the people that have been kind of holed up during the whole COVID-19 pandemic, and they're just chomping at the bit to get on the road, but the creative process has got to be going for them, hopefully, anyway. And we're going to see a flood of new music and then a flood of tours. It's going to be saturated over the next year or so. And that's what we're hoping for, right?
Yeah, we're hoping for that. I feel really bad. You think about not only, forget about us, the musicians. What about those people that are hanging those lights, setting that stage? Think about the businesses involved in, the promoters who, they have money out to prepare for these shows. It's not, permits and this and insurances. And it is so unbelievably difficult that, how these guys have to, get back in the game and recoup all that stuff. It's incredible.
And I'm very thankful for the Save Our Stages Act that Congress was able to pass and help keep some of the venues too, Johnny, open, that have been struggling as well. No artists and no popcorn to sell, no hot dogs to sell, and no tickets to sell more than anything. So we're just excited for everybody to get back to rock and roll. And we look forward to seeing Hardline on the road coming up later this year.
Yeah, man, we'll do it. We'll do it for sure. And
so it's going to be great.
For our new record, man. What a message. Heart, mind, and soul. It has such a cool message. And this is the first album that I wrote a song with my son, my 17-year-old boy, Brandon.
Really?
Learning how to play the guitar. And he comes downstairs and he goes, Dad, check this out. And he plays this little riff. And like I was talking about how I like to write, I said, Brandon, play that again. And I recorded him. And I turned it into a song. It's called We Belong. It's on the new album that's coming out in July. Remember that one. It's called We Belong. And people think, that's nice about a girl and a guy. No, it's not at all. It's about the relationship that we have with a song and how we can take a song with us anywhere we want forever, here and in here. And it's ours. It's ours. It's a relationship that we never forget. Like those Judas Priest songs and our Scorpion songs, and
that's right. People have to realize the personal nature of music and how it connects not only us as human beings with other people that typically love the same genre of music, but the personal connection that we have as humans with the songs and with the albums. And I can't tell you how many times I wore out that Double Eclipse album, and there's only certain albums in my life that I can say that about, but it's a very Oh, Johnny, I could go on for that. I played, I'm a drummer. I've been playing since I was 8. I told you my Alex Van Halen story, how I got into music through him. And me and my brother used to jam that Hardline album, man. He had a 7-string. And he was like, "Oh, you got it." I'm like, "What is this? What is that extra meat that you got on that thing, man?" He's like, "Oh, it's a 7-string. It's that low B." And I'm like, "Oh, hit that thing again and turn it up to 11." And, we used to play Rhythm from a Red Car like note for note, man. And I'm telling you,
I'm impressed, man. Not many people caught that was a 7-string on that song.
Well, it's really good stuff. So I can't tell you. Thank you so much for coming on here today and sharing just a little bit of your story. I could go on and on with you. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened. Ray, unfortunately, dropped off here with us, but we'll get him back on, and we hope to have you on again another time to talk a little bit more rock and roll, maybe talk about that new album that's coming out. What's the release date on that again?
I'm sorry?
What's the release date on that new album again?
I don't know the specific day. I can't remember because I'm getting old, but I know it's July. So it's coming out this summer in July.
Very good. We'll pretty soon then.
27. Yeah, we're getting there, man.
All right. Very good.
It's ready to roll, man. She's printed. We even made vinyl. We're going old school on this one.
I like it. Vinyl too. Vinyl's kind of making a little bit of a resurgence, don't you think? And I even heard cassettes are coming back in some form.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I love it. It just just brings me personally and you back to a good place in our lives, man.
We all love nostalgia,
kids,
right?
Yeah, but the kids today, look, there's great music out there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't stick with them forever. This music has stuck with us. You know what I mean?
Yes. So, well, I always say great music is timeless.
Yeah.
Like you can still, I'll go to the store, I'll go to Walmart here a little while, get some milk, and I'll hear a Bad Company song on the radio. And the first thing I'm going to do is reach and turn it up, right?
Crank it up.
Every single time.
Absolutely.
Because that's the effect that it has on us.
I still do it, man. I still do it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Johnny, I can't thank you enough for joining us here today. We really appreciate it. Hardline, one of those bands that if you have not heard, you've got to check them out. And I thank you so much for your time today, my friend. And we'll talk to you again very soon.
James, take care. Ray, wherever you are in there in the box of hell. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, Johnny. We'll talk again soon.
Take care, my bro.